This is my mother, Mary. She is 51. She's my mother. Okay, what do you remember about November 22nd, 1963, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated?
Well, I was only 2, so I wouldn't really remember anything about that event.
Many people have said hope in America died a little that day. Do you agree? And if so, how did America change?
Yeah, I think hope in America changed that day. I think people had a lot of faith in the government and in the president, and when he died, I think it really, it was very sad for our nation.
Okay, next question. How about the Vietnam War? Do you think that America had lost trust in the federal government by the end of the war? If so, has this trust ever been won back?
Yes, I totally think many Americans were against that war, did not want our government to be in that war and didn't understand it, even though our government was trying to do something good by keeping, you know, communism from spreading. They really did. People lost faith and they didn't understand what our government was doing and thought it was that we shouldn't be involved in there. But personally, I think we should have, because communism is such an evil force and we need to do everything we can to stop that.
How do you think the world's perception of the U.S. changed on July 20th, 1969, when we, the United States, put the first man on the moon?
Oh, I think that was amazing. I think that restored a lot of hope in the future, in the space program, and the possibilities of the space program, and just was definitely a unifying factor for our government.
How do you think America viewed the United States following Nixon's resignation on August 8, 1974, following the Watergate scandal?
Well, of course, it was it's something awful when a leader of the free world is involved in something like that. I do appreciate the fact that he did step down, like other leaders have not stepped down when things, were really, they should have. That's presidential leaders, but I think it divided our country a lot.
In what way do you think our nation changed on November 9th, 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, effectively ending the Cold War?
I'm sorry, how did our nation change?
Yes.
Our nation changed because I think we began to see ourselves as not saviors of the world, but like that our nation could affect good in the world, like really affect good. To end the Cold War was huge.
What do you remember about September 11th, 2001, when the country experienced the worst terrorist attacks in the United States history on the Pentagon and the World Trade Center? How was America changed by this?
I remember that because it was just such a tragedy. I was getting you guys ready to go to school that morning, and television was on and saw that happening. It was completely fear invoking, and it was just set up again, kind of set up. Then it turned to be like us against the Eastern world, like the Muslim nations, and kind of that again was a divisive attack.
Finally, it is said that every American citizen has a dream, be it wealth, happiness, for a better life for their children, etc. What was your dream, and do you think you achieved it?
Well, I'd say my dream was to go to college and to get a career and to have a husband and then have 4 children. So, yes, I did. I went to college. I got a career. In fact, I got 2 of them, a teaching credential and a design degree. And I was married and had 4 kids. And so, yeah, I say that I achieved that.
And last question, did it affect your life? Your parents were immigrants, so did that affect you in any way?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, because my parents coming from the Netherlands and fighting so hard to be here and to learn the language and to assimilate themselves into the American culture and to better the community that they lived in was huge for me. And so all of those values that they had in order to be able to be those kind of people in our country, those were instilled into me and to my siblings. What do you remember about the day of September 11th, 2001?
Well, I was only 5, so I don't remember much. Just seeing stuff on the news and yeah.
Can you tell me a 9/11 story or anything you remember about that day?
I just remember watching videos on the news of the buildings collapsing, and I was just in shock that someone would do that to our country.
Were you terrified ever?
I was 5, so no.
Your mother must have been terrified. Next, tell me, how do you think your country has changed since that day?
We've become more like protective, and we've had to just be aware of that those people are out there and that it can happen, and so we've had to like up all the security and everything.
Yes, you definitely have. It's really difficult to get around in your country now. All right. Tell me, what was your favorite unit that you studied here in school, and what did you learn about this year and why?
My favorite unit was when we learned about the Roaring Twenties, because just like I love learning about like family life of different times and cultures, and so just learning about all the families and stuff like that.
That's lovely. Finally, after a year of studying the history of our country, what do you see as your place in our future, or your future, since I'm from England? I'm British.
I feel like I just have to be a good American citizen and just like teach the values to my future family that I've been taught.
Very good. Life, liberty, and
Pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness, of course, and justice for all. What are you hoping to accomplish as a United States citizen?
Just to go through college and have a family and be an American citizen.
What do you think about Greenpeace? What is your American dream?
My American dream would be to become a teacher and teach the younger generation about just like how they can make an impact in the world and show them some like American values.
So to give them basically a really solid education.
Yes.
And to help them to understand their place in the world.
Yes.
Just like you have.